What is going on, people? It is Sailor Turn Gamer. We are back in the building and we're coming at you with another video for Anthem. In today's video, we are talking about our build. And this particular build is something that I've been using for a long time. In fact, it was actually the build that I progressed from the start of the game all the way up till now. This is my primary build for my favorite javelin in the game, the Ranger. I call it the Bombardier build. This build has insane ultimate regeneration, high amounts of shields, and ridiculous combo potential. This build is all about throwing those bombs, letting those fly, letting them detonate, and basically with the amount of ultimate regen you have, your ultimate ability is pretty much like a second ability. So this isn't one of those things that you hold on to. You use it as often as you possibly can. With the amount of damage that the ultimate abilities now have, stacked on top of the damage that we will have, as you guys see when we go through the build, it's insane. Also, we do have a written guide that will be posted as of the making of this video on our Facebook page at facebook.com/SailorTurnGamer. Also, you guys can just check the description box below and click on the link to get right to the written guide. And while you're there, be sure to give our Facebook a like. It's the easiest way to stay connected to us. If you're not the biggest Twitter fan, we do post a lot of information there, as well as content outside of video format. We post that on our Facebook page as well. I'd like to use all avenues as a way to continue to create valuable sources of content for everything evolving around Anthem and Dauntless. So if you like the written guides that we have posted up, if you like the video, please be sure to subscribe, join the fleet, and be a part of this awesome community. Alright, so with that being said, let's just hop into the breakdown of this video. Ideally, you want to play this at range. It's possible to do that if that's something that you want to do. The way I prefer to play the build is all into the thick of the fray. You want to get into the thick of the fray, get up close and personal, drop bombs on these guys, get these combos to proc, get your ultimate as quickly as you can because it's incredibly easy to get it. And once you get it, let it fly. We will be going through and showing some gameplay at the end of the videos if you guys want to see how this build actually functions in action. And yeah, that'll be awesome. So stay tuned to the end if that's something that you guys want to see. All right, so let's break this down. So if we are looking at our full loadout, you see that we got a couple of Divine Vengeances, Recurring Vengeance, Last Argument, a Muster Point, and you see that we are 653 Masterwork Ranger. Before we even go any further, let me start off by saying that your gear score really doesn't matter in this game. And I say that knowing that I'm not the highest of Masterwork Rangers, but it's really not important. The most important thing is your stats. It's all about your stats in this game. It's all about your main stats. It's all about your secondary stats. And that's why we have two Divine Vengeances. I'm going to talk about that right now. We're going to hop into the weapon section. So, with our weapons, you guys already know we got two Divine Vengeances, but this is the reason why we have two Divine Vengeances. So this is our primary Divine Vengeance. We're going heavy on this one because it has a bigger mag size, and we're getting 75% shields. That's the big thing on this, plus 15% additional damage on our ultimate. This build is all about building up that ultimate regen, and once you get that ultimate regen up, you're letting that damage fly. It's insane. So with that, the reason why we're using this Divine Vengeance as a secondary weapon, it's because it's purely a stat stick. So you have 40% maximum shields plus 70%. That's 110% maximum shields that stacks on top of that 75%. That puts us at 185, if I'm not mistaken. That's a lot of additional shield damage. Also, if you look, every single one of these stats have the icon for the javelin in the middle, meaning that this goes across our entire character as a whole. So we're even getting additional 8% pickup ammo and 30% extra repair drop rate. So hey, why not? If you want to be in the thick of it, if you want to be all in the fray of the enemy, dropping bombs on these guys, you're getting repair stuff to drop. You don't even have to worry about health pretty much. So the reason why we're using Divine Vengeance in general, primarily Divine Vengeance is my favorite weapon in the game. Also, I want to say that Divine Vengeance, in my opinion, is the best weapon for the Ranger. I think this is top tier in the entire game, but for a Ranger, I think this is the best weapon that a Ranger could go with due to every third weak point causing a fire explosion. Not only does it cause a fire explosion, this explosion scales off of fire damage, which is elemental damage, which also scales off of blast damage. It's insane how much damage this thing can do against shielded targets. Now, before we move on away from the weapons, I do want to say that there is an option if you don't have Divine Vengeance. One thing that I do suggest is using, I'm just going to click over this before we go back. One thing that I do suggest is using Rauner's Blaze. Rauner's Blaze ignites the targets on a hit streak of 5. So like I said, I like to play this at close, but there are many options when it comes to playing this particular build. You can sit back at range, light these targets up, throw bombs in from a distance, get in close to melee them if you want, but you can just continually throw bombs from a distance, light off your abilities, and then use your ultimate when you do have it. It's less aggressive, but it's still doable. And you can do that with Rauner's Blaze. I know we have a legendary version here. We don't have the stat roll that I desire. So for those of you out there that want to use Rauner's Blaze, this is an option to use, and it's a great option, I might add. My only thing with that is that I would like to make this my primary, and I would prefer to roll stats similar to what I have on my current primary weapon. Then I would switch over to that if that's something that you could do. But if by all means, if you get a great roll on a Rauner's Blaze, I implore you to stick it out and go with the Rauner's Blaze, because it still is a beast of a weapon. But if I could get these stats on this weapon, I would have Rauner's Blaze as my primary and use Divine Vengeance as a backup for my secondary, because these two, in my opinion, are two of the best weapons in the entire game, especially for a Ranger. These are awesome. I wanted to throw that caveat in there just so you guys have full understanding that Divine Vengeance isn't the only thing that I suggest for using this build. Alright, so let's move on to the bread and money of this build. We're talking about Last Argument. Last Argument is a beast, I might add. So if we take a look at Last Argument, hitting an enemy at 700% ultimate damage. It's insane how much ultimate you could get back. And in certain situations, if you're throwing this thing in crowds of enemies, you could pretty much instantly get your ultimate back. It's ridiculous. So, but it's all about the rolls. It's all about the rolls. I can't say that enough. If you look at this, this isn't the best roll, but it's a pretty good roll. We got 20% gear speed for the Last Argument, so we can continually throw out this frag grenade at a faster pace. But the big thing on this as well is that we do get 100% charge. Now, I highly suggest that you want to look for charges when it comes to your Last Argument. If you can get 200% or 300%, that's the goal. You want to be able to throw as many of these as possible, because the more you throw, the more explosions are happening, and the faster you can get your ultimate back. And your ultimate, not only is it a big damage item, it's a health boost as well. You automatically get your health back for using your ultimate. I'm sure most of you guys know that, but for the newer players, you get your health back, and it's basically a full restore. It's basically a full potion. It's a beast. So this is a great thing to have. Now, the thing that I suggest using for your assault launcher is going to be Recurring Vengeance. I highly suggest using this because of the combo effect for this particular style of build. For you to be able to continually shoot out combos. Imagine using Rauner's Blaze and priming targets from a distance. You could easily throw out a secret missile in between not having your grenades. But the great thing about Recurring Vengeance is that if you kill an enemy with it, as you can see, you get 100% of your charge back. So we have a pretty good roll on it right now. We got luck. And the way this build is set up, we have the maximum amount of luck, which you only need to get 90% luck on any of your builds to have that maximum percentage. And we do have that goal of 90% luck. So that's something that you guys don't have to worry about. And the great thing on this too is we also stacking 25% extra grenade speed, which is going to be pretty awesome when it comes to this build, because you're going to be able to consistently throw those grenades out. That's the goal right there. One of my dream things with this build is if you can get charges on this, that will be awesome, because the more you can spam these abilities to create combos, the faster you can get your ultimate back, the more damage you can actually do. And again, the big ticket on this build is that your grenades are your primary ability and your ultimate is your second ability. It's not really about your assault launcher, but if you can use an assault launcher ability to help further create more combos, then that's a great thing. Before we take a deep dive into the components, we're going to look at the support gear. And here's another little bit of that luck that's adding up. So with the 28% plus the 33%, we're making our way there. This is a nice little boost to armor. Honestly, if I could get something like 35% shields with some luck, that will be a nice roll on the muster point. The goal is to try to stack as much shields as possible, because that's what's going to allow you to transition even easier through the Grandmaster tiers. If you can stack shields, it'll protect you in order for you to do face tanking when necessary, but just in general, in order for you to move around the battlefield or the terrain, wherever you are, you know you have the armor to back you up, or you know you have the shielding to back you up. I chose to stack shields, and that's why we're at 185% shields, and it shows within the battle. Now let's move on to the components. Now this is the stuff that dreams are made of. I know, before you even dive into this, again, you guys may be wondering why are we using this epic level component, because it's all about the main stats. It's not necessarily about what the component is, it's about what the component does and what the component stats do for you. So before we even get into that, let's talk about combined arms. Combined arms, great perk. Increases our grenade damage. Boom. That's great because we're throwing out frags. And when we do shoot our secret missile or our RB or assault launcher ability, you're getting more damage for your grenades, which is awesome. I would prefer if I had different main stats on that, but this is a legendary component. I can't complain. The only thing I can do is replace it if I ever get a better one. Now, we're using grenade augment. It increases our grenade damage by an additional 5%. Now, I would prefer if this was the grenade one that increases your recharge rate by 35%. But let's take a look at these stats. That's why we can't let it go. 40% ultimate recharge speed. Now, that is an insane roll, and it's hard to let that go. This is one of the best components in the game. And I'm not talking about this grenade augment. I'm talking about the next one we're going to talk about, emergency power. So if we take a quick look at emergency power, man, if I had a better main stat roll on this, gotta roll. But more importantly, what it does in itself. Now, I know the armor and shielding is like, what, 149? Is that a bug? No, it's not. It's incredibly low, but that's because it has strong potential. So emergency power is one of the newer universal components that have just been added to the game. I just recorded a video on that. It's up on the channel. You guys can check that out for some of the sleeper additions that they added to the game. But if we look at what this does, you get an additional 30% base damage increase on your ultimate, which our ultimate ability is replenishing so quickly. You're going to be able to use it so often to have that additional damage stacked on top of the 15% that we already had. That's 45%, plus the changes that they made from the last patch. Our ultimate hits hard. But the best part about this is that stacked with your 185% extra armor, you're already incredibly tanky. Once your armor and once your shielding does run out and you get low health, this emergency power kicks in. And what this does is your ultimate meter refills instantly when you're critically damaged. And this can occur every 120 seconds. So every 2 minutes you can get this back, which is insane because this build is set up to have so much armor to where you really won't need it. But if you do need it for whatever reason, you get your ultimate back, you pop your ult, you get your heal, you got full health again, full shielding again, and you're back to being tanky. So whatever situation you're in, it's enough for you to be able to pop your ult, get in there, get your health back, get out, and move on. This is a component that I feel as though is necessary in every single build, because not only is it a great to increase your ultimate damage, even if you have a build where you're not focusing on using your ultimate and it's about guns or it's about another ability or you didn't put extra damage on your ult, this is a free full restore. This is awesome. It's great. Now let's move on to Badge of Devastation. This increases our assault launcher damage. Not really what we needed or wanted. But if we look again, we got an additional 25% ultimate speed. So this is getting insane with the ultimate speed. And then if we look at the masterwork component on this, performing a large hit streak of 10 will instantly add 3 ultimate charge. It's always great to have even additional ultimate charge because we're all about stacking ultimate charge. This is why I say that your ultimate is literally your second ability. So use it and use it often. The only thing I can see myself replacing this with will be a legendary version of Badge of Devastation. Anything other than that, I would say it's not worth it. So let's talk about our legendary ranger component of Victor Resolve. Increases your blast damage. it's obvious, guys, we're stacking up that blast damage, we're stacking up everything, and this is what takes us over the top. We actually got 45% luck to actually happen on this when we got it, so that's what takes us over that threshold of 90%, and so we are good. Now, I wish it was something else on that effect plus 5% resistance? Yeah, but hey, you can't argue with a legendary component. You get it and you take it and you use it the best way you can. Now, the last thing I feel as though is a staple in almost every Ranger build as well is interesting because we got 6 component slots, and I already feel like at least 2 of these slots are required. You got your emergency power, God mode, and then you got your tip of the spear. If you're a Ranger, you're probably doing combo damage. If you're a freelancer, you're probably doing combo damage. So, using this component, being able to increase your combo damage by 50%, and not only doing that, having your armor to restore by 40% is insane. The only thing I would do to this again would be to change those main stats around for possibly more ultimate regeneration. But hey, can't do anything about that except get a better robe when it comes my way. So that is what this build is capable of. When you look at the totality of what this build does, you are able to have a lot of ultimate regeneration. We have 2 grenades. We're still on the hunt to try to get more. And you're throwing out grenades, you're using your ultimate, and you're going in hard, doing damage, killing guys, and it's just a beautiful wave of WMDs, if you know what I mean. If you guys enjoyed the discussion of how the build works, and you want to stick around for an actual bit of gameplay, I'm going to take you guys through, then that would be fantastic. If you guys are ending it here, and you liked what you've seen, be sure to give us a like, share, and subscribe. Join the fleet. Be a part of this community. Help us grow and be here to witness greatness. Also, again, we do have a written build that will be in the description below. You guys can check that out if reading is more of your thing, or if you just want to share this with somebody else that haven't got a chance to see the video or wants to read it in itself. Got a lot of even more information down in the written build. Be sure to check that out. And hey, we're going to hop over to some gameplay, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.
All the time I do that, but yeah, I just want you guys to see what it's like when we're going through and we're killing some enemies. So you want to constantly throw out your grenades, constantly use your abilities. We already got our ult, look at that, and you just use it as often as you can. It works like a second ability as often as we have it. You just throw them. So right now we don't have our grenades, but that's okay, because we have the secondary one, and when we actually get a kill with that, it's gonna proc and we can get it back. So with that, we just throw more grenades. Be sure to throw your grenades as often as you can. Try to get them combos to proc, and you are spamming abilities. You'll always have a grenade, at least essentially that's how you want to play. And when you don't have a grenade, you got a really strong gun that literally blows guys up like that. You just want to use your ult all the time. Use it as often as you can. If an enemy has a shield, that's why we use Divine Vengeance. It's a great shield breaker. You see all that armor? If you look at our health bar, it's not even dropping. It's not dropping at all, and we're keeping it up. Couple of headshots. And this is GM1, guys. So, as you can tell, on GM1, we crush. We're not even comboing with the grenades, and if you do combo, you do even more damage. We're just not comboing because this build on GM1 is insane. I hope you guys enjoyed this bit of gameplay for the video, and hopefully you guys got a chance to see a little bit of how this showcases on GM1. If you guys want to see more from this build and an even more depth video of gameplay, be sure to let me know, and we'll move something up to GM2, and I'll create a video for a feature full length video showing you guys the build in the GM2 environment. But this build in GM1 crushes and kills. I appreciate everything, and yeah, peace. You guys take care.